Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 328.
328.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. We're going to be talking all about Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party today. And MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel can get you where you need to go. They can book your vacation and get you set up for the party. If you're coming for the holidays,
Get ready for springtime. It's flower and garden. Christmas is over.
It's not over. It's not over, but it's a short season compared to Halloween because Halloween actually goes longer. But check them out if you're looking to book a Disney vacation or any cruise or any vacation in this whole world. But they're Disney specialists.
Yes, very true. Anyway, now we're going to start Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. We attended the first 3 parties, and this show will be a compilation of all the highlights from those 3 events. The first one was very rainy. The second one, which is
Clear.
You're seeing now, very perfect weather, no rain. And then we had a little on and off the third one. So that'll help us talk about all that.
Right, and a lot of this probably was from the second party, right? Because it was a clearer night for that. So that is a guide map, and it's really a good idea to pick it up if you can find it online, and also to decide what you're going to do ahead of time. That's always really good to prioritize. There's so much to see. I usually recommend 2 parties if you can do it, but with one, you've got the parade and the fireworks and so many other things.
And there's Left Reindeer, the star of the show.
How do you know it's Left Reindeer?
Yeah, it's true. It could be just any of the reindeer. But anyway, we're going to talk about just about everything that's in that map. First thing you want to do, though, is don't forget to pick up your Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom card.
And this is included with your party ticket. I never say free, just like the refreshments. I just call them included. But that is just, you go to the firehouse and you pick up your Sorcerer's card, and it's just a nice little souvenir from the party.
Or you can use it. You can play it. You can play the game, too.
I haven't played the game in like 8 years.
Neither,
a long time.
Neither have I. Now we're going to talk about the bypass, which is actually open from 4 to 8. They have given a ending time of it this year, which is very helpful.
This is the first year, I think, that they've actually said it closes at a certain time. But this is a Market Street bypass, and you will see that sign to lead you in. And you have photo ops, also a first cookie. This isn't my favorite of the cookies, so I would personally save it. It does crumble easily.
But it's the only cookie that you can get before 7 o'clock.
And
so
that's
that
true.
is a very important thing.
Yes, 3 hours before the party starts. But if you want to save those calories, I recommend the Cosmic Rays. There's a peppermint English baked cookie that is really good. And you can get hot chocolate there as well. And you can always save this cookie. Again, it crumbles. But anyway, here are some of the photo ops. The lines do get a little long, but not terrible. But they get a little long. So it can be a few minutes to get your picture with them. There's photo pass photographers all the way through. And merchandise to buy.
Yes, your first look at the merchandise. They wheel out the carts, and they have shirts and pins and just a small selection. If you go into the main stores, you'll see tons and tons of merchandise, and we'll talk about that later on in the show.
And the day it was raining, it was a light rain, and they were open, but the merchandise was elsewhere. So now we're heading in to see Jack and Sally. We waited almost 2 hours. We got there 4
o'clock,
and then waited till about 6. And that is an hour before the party starts that we had already met them. And then we did a couple other little things before the party officially started.
Yeah, so if you really want to meet some of the popular characters, that is our game plan usually, to get there early because you're not wasting party time, actual party time, as you said. And here they are. It's Jack and Sally. And Sally joined, actually not Jack, that is Sandy Claus.
But he is Jack
as Sandy Claus. And this is the second year that Sally has joined him for the Christmas holiday.
And this is really probably the best meet and greet for me, although I like the Pooh characters. We didn't see the 7 Dwarfs this year, but Jack and Sally, we always go to the first party, first character meet and greet.
Well, they're always very, very good. You get a great interaction, as you can see. And what I like about it is you have your own private area to talk with them and take pictures, so you don't feel as rushed. And you'll also get a card. They don't sign autographs, but you'll get a autograph card on your way out from meeting them. And our next meet and greet is going to be Mickey, and it's in the same area, almost the same area.
We have never had Mickey act like this before. I mean, he probably has had a lot of cookies.
Oh, a lot of
little
cookies.
Bit of sugar.
Yes.
But he was actually fantastic. And I even said out loud, I was like, everybody's going to want this, because he was just all over the place.
Well, Mickey does not start meeting in his Christmas outfit there until 7 o'clock. So you can't do an early meet for him. But if you go right after the first parade, and that's what we did, it was a very, very minimal. I think we waited less than 10 minutes, maybe even five.
I think
minutes.
we only waited about 5 minutes for him after the parade. So yeah, I wouldn't go for him early. Look, he's still hanging in there.
he really is good. Mickey loves us for coming to his party.
That was actually a really fun meet and greet. And I was like to Jeff, I said, quick and quiet. And all of a sudden, Mickey was like,
yeah, you
just
can't
all
blame
over.
me for Mickey's.
No, I can't.
So here comes the Pooh characters. We also waited about 2 hours. We didn't really need to wait 2 hours, but we wanted to be first in line for the Pooh characters because I had a plan to run down to the beginning of Main Street and get a spot for the parade for party number 2.
On this day, an hour and a half would have sufficed. Mm-hmm. Like you were there for a while before anybody else showed up, and the line wasn't horrible when it started.
No.
So the Pooh characters, we've seen them now the last couple of years. This year, instead of the dwarves, I guess we did.
We're giving the dwarves a break.
Yes.
We're seeing the Pooh characters this year. We'll go back to the dwarves next year.
The Pooh characters actually are also up there with my favorites for the party.
And here's the nice autograph card you get. They don't sign autographs, but I love this little honey pot there signed by all the characters.
And there's no date on the autograph cards this year, so I don't know if they'll look the same next year or not. So there are several ride overlays this year. One of them is the Tomorrowland Speedway, which has 30,000 lights, and also I think it's about 12 trees. And I don't even know if these count as the trees because it looks like there's almost 12 just right there.
Yeah, I think they count as trees.
So, well, I don't know. And so anyway, this was a surprise and it's a really lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this attraction with the lights and the music. So you get all of that. And are we going to be riding the People Mover on this?
No,
okay.
But we don't need to because I'm showing everything. You're going to get all the highlights in this little clip here.
Well, when I get asked for tips, one of my first ones is to ride the People Mover during the party because you get to see the Tomorrowland Speedway and you can hear it. You get to go through Space Mountain and you can see it really well inside Space Mountain and with the music and everything. Plus you see the castle, and if Tomorrowland Christmas is going, the Totally Tomorrowland Christmas is going. I mean, it really is like, for me, the People Mover is like its own ride overlay.
I was just going to say, you can count that one as an overlay because of all the different things you see. I love the cast members really get into it.
They were really good. They were all dancing and everything. So I enjoy this. I recommend this. But the first thing at 7 p.m., I say, go on the People Mover. And really, you can get an overview of everything that's going on in Tomorrowland at that point. And it really is fun. And if you can't do it at 7, another time is okay. But that's my favorite thing. I rode it like 4 or 5 times the first night because it was raining and I enjoyed it so much.
Well, I would recommend doing it in the last hour, if you can, even the last half hour of the night. Maybe do this in Space Mountain because the lines were the shortest at the very end. Now we're going to talk about something else, the teacups here. And here's Tweedledee and Tweedledum getting us ready to take a ride on the teacups that also have a holiday overlay.
I didn't come with you. I had already done the Mad Tea Party the day before. So
you didn't get to meet Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
I did not. They had a little bit, not too long of a line, but enough of one.
Like two people for me. It was almost a walk up, so that's why I did that.
Well, the Mad Tea Party with the lights and the music and everything, I did it very last minute on the first party night during a little bit of a break, maybe a quarter till 12 or so. I did it. So it was really nice, and there was like nobody around because it was raining.
Yeah,
especially.
look at all the empty teacups. Now there's no rain while I'm going on it right now, so it's just a very slow time. I think this was during the second parade at around 11 o'clock.
And maybe during the night, maybe early on, like 7 or 8 p.m. it will be busier, but towards the end of the night, I guess it just isn't. And this is a very nice. This isn't my favorite of the ride overlays, but it's actually a really nice one.
Well, it's a nice addition, certainly. Now we're going to talk about Space Mountain, and this is more of an overlay than the Halloween version, which is just dark. The Halloween one, although it works in Halloween because it's just very scary because it is pitch black, not the case in this version.
And they actually call them holiday twists as opposed to overlays, but so we'll just say holiday twist.
Holiday twist, yes.
And so you can't see it very, very well, but I just, again, want to mention, if you're on that People Mover, it surprised me how well I could see into Space Mountain. And I'm like, Can I usually see into space? Are we passing Space Mountain usually? Because for some reason, I think it's just because it's so dark, I never notice it.
I think you could see this pretty well
you
here.
See it really
you're
well.
Going up the big drop hill here. You're hearing all sorts of loud rock Christmas music, and when the lighting flashes, you can get a really good look at the inside at the track and everything. But once it goes, it's moving pretty good. I like this one a lot. I think this was a lot of fun, and I rode both tracks, and it's slightly different depending on which track you ride.
And if you have kids who can't do Space Mountain, or if you're not wanting to ride Space Mountain, again, that People Mover ride is going to give you a little bit of that experience. And like I took a friend on it, and it was really fun because she got to see, she didn't ride any of the rides, and she got to kind of experience them.
On the
even
People
so,
Mover.
yes.
So anyway, that is the last of the overlays that we're going to talk about right now. Merchandise.
And yes, we were one of the nights, the third night, we did it as a media event, and we went and also got some coverage of merchandise and food at the event. So this is a look. In July we talked about Christmas at the parks, and some of this merchandise we had already shown, so we're just taking a quick look at this, including some t-shirts. There's a train set.
And you also had a chance to talk to Chef Julia about some of the specialty food items at the party.
Hi, I'm Chef Julia, and I'm the special event chef here at the Magic Kingdom. I'll review with some of our returning offerings for the Christmas party. The first couple offerings are actually going to be inspired by Frozen 2. The first one is going to be our Olaf's Frozen Hot Chocolate. This is going to be served over at the Main Street Bakery as an all-day, everyday offering. It's chocolate cake, chocolate panna cotta, and then marshmallow fluff on top. Our next offering is our Spen's Carrot Cake. You can find this over at Pecos Bills. This is going to be party exclusive. It's going to be topped with a cream cheese frosting, some carrot sugars, and then it's going to be a Spen chocolate piece. The next couple offerings were actually inspired by the holiday flavors of the season. So we have first is our carved turkey sandwich, which you can find over at Cosmic Rays. This is a party exclusive offering. It is going to be roasted turkey, applewood smoked bacon, smoked Gouda, and then it's going to have a chipotle aioli. One of our all-day, everyday offerings you can find over at Annie Gravity. So this is our Christmas cookie milkshake. It's going to be topped with whipped cream, some sprinkles, and then a Mickey marshmallow straw.
That looks really nice.
Over at Storybook Treats, you'll find our gingerbread soft serve. This is another one of our all-day, everyday offerings. It's going to be topped with whipped cream, some cookie pieces, and then a wafer. Over at Cosmic Rays, you'll find our Deck the Halls. This is another one of our all-day, everyday. This is going to be frozen eggnog, whipped cream, sprinkles, and then we're garnishing it with a chocolate Christmas light bulb. Then we have our To Be Jolly float, which is actually inspired by our new Firework show, which is hosted by Minnie Mouse. We do have its peppermint, iced coffee, ice cream, whipped cream, some candy cane sprinkles, and then a chocolate mini bow. One of our savory offerings you'll find over at Gaston's Tavern, which is our Gaston's cheese dip. It's a beer cheese dip with antler breadsticks. And then over at Aloha Isle, you'll find our Kakamora floats. This is going to be a coconut soft serve, pineapple juice, and then blue curacao syrup. And then it's going to be topped with a Kakamora cake pop. You're probably wondering, how does this fit into Christmas? Well, right around the corner from Aloha Isle is actually the Moana. And then one of our absolute favorites that is out to the park right now is an Orange Bird Christmas. So you can find this over at Sunshine Tree Terrace. This is a party exclusive offering. It is orange scented chocolate mousse, orange curd, and then it has a citrus scented almond cake on the bottom.
That sounds really good.
So I had the Olaf treat, the very first one that you showed there, and it had a little pop rock effect at the very bottom. So, boy, that was a good one.
I actually really enjoyed that, and also you can get it at the Main Street Bakery, so you can use your Starbucks card and get points.
Even better.
So that's my favorite. I like to pick up things at the bakery for that reason. And I asked what the most popular item was, and one of the ones was the orange bird.
Of course.
So so I thought that was fun.
I would want the orange bird just for the picture.
Mm-hmm. And then also there were popcorn buckets, and we've seen those pictures around. They're not necessarily all party exclusives, like the green Mickey Christmas tree is kind of everywhere. Mm-hmm.
So now it's parade time, and we mentioned about the certain spot I liked. I call it Christmas Tree Point, looking Dead down Main Street, USA, and it's the Kringle Crew, and you only get this little Kringle Crew warm-up act on Main Street and Town Square before the parade.
And I'm just gonna say that I like this location a lot, but the other area that we go in front of Town Square actually has a little bit better lighting.
Well, remember, the light changes. The light completely changes throughout the parade. So sometimes it's you have a blue lighting, and sometimes you have this type of lighting. So it all depends. But you're right. There's more spotlights down on the side where we usually record.
With the Christmas tree in view. So there's more than one good spot. We do like Town Square. It does take about 15 minutes for the from Frontierland to here. So you're going to be waiting if the parade's at 8:30 or whatever the time is.
Well, right.
It's
I got this spot at 6:40, and the parade didn't arrive until 8:40. So
so it was a couple of hours. So here are Mickey and Minnie on their float, and we met them at the
Christmas in July.
Yes, Christmas in July.
These outfits. Oh yes, and Anna and Elsa still in their original outfits. I wonder as the party
movie
goes along, they will have their new outfits on.
I wouldn't expect it, but it would be nice to see them in the
Disneyland,
park.
they are in the new outfits.
Are they?
Oh, yes.
I haven't even seen
the
that.
Christmas Fantasy Parade just yesterday debuted their new outfit, so that could happen here.
I did not realize. Well, what about the other parade, the Festival Fantasy Parade, then?
That
they
too.
Could change
We'll see
also.
what happens.
So here is Olaf, and a lot of the parade this year is not too different than previous years. There's a couple little differences, like Forky, yes, but Bo Peep, they're on the Toy Story float, and really that's just about it. Oh, and Nick and Judy, we saw them a minute ago.
Mm-hmm, that's right. And here is Olaf in his usual area. And I should mention, if you get a rainy day, sometimes the parade will change, and you'll see, for party number 1, we had Anna, Elsa, and Olaf on that float, and there were no horses. There was no horse cart, so they sometimes don't bring the horses out if it's too rainy and slippery.
Right, anything with horses, plus like the skiers weren't there. But overall, on the first party, even though it was raining, that first parade did go off mostly as normal, but the second parade did not. They had a rainy day or rainy night parade.
And here are the gingerbread men. They're one of my favorite characters that you can only see during the Christmas parade here.
Well, there's 3 elements of the parade that are favorites of mine every year. The gingerbread men, the toy soldiers, and the reindeer, because that is years and years and years of them.
Scrumptious, your favorite there, Clarabelle. And Clarabelle will be making an appearance later on in the party too, but she loves to tell you how scrumptious her cookies are.
Is that a new costume? Because I don't remember that, but I don't think
it debuted last year, actually.
Okay.
And we noticed it last year.
And yeah, I mean, it still seems new to me. So we're coming up, we have Goofy and his candy machine. And during the Halloween party, this is Vanellope up
That's
here.
That's right. That is very right. Yeah.
As opposed to Goofy. So Goofy, I think this outfit also debuted last year. It's more of a steampunk look for him. That was not what he was wearing for many years.
Right, and the candy cane dancers too. So last year you had some new things. Here you have the 7 dwarfs. So we did get to see the 7 dwarfs. We just didn't meet them personally this year.
Right, we didn't wait. I mean, 7
2
dwarfs.
hours.
Right, and maybe later in the evening it's not as long. We could have stood in line for them and we didn't. There is Snow White and her prince.
Now, in the on the rainy day parade on party number 1, every princess was in this little gazebo. No princes, but every single princess, and they did not have the mirror float that we'll be seeing in a few minutes.
And that wasn't really the rainy day parade. That was the slightly modified parade,
correct.
The first parade.
That's right.
And there is Cinderella and Prince Charming, and Cinderella again, like the coach wasn't out during that first parade. So we're looking at that mirror float. The mirror float also not out during that first parade. And I'm like, I wonder if that mirror float is coming back.
Well, I should mention there is a slight change to the mirror float this time. The fairy godmother not in attendance.
That was a surprise to me. And I don't know if that's going to be every party.
Right. But they didn't have the soundtrack of her either. So, I suspect that's it for the fairy godmother. Maybe she's busy doing something else.
I really liked having the fairy godmother on here. I thought that, I think that is a nice, I don't want to say addition, because that was she was always here.
Well, we'll monitor. Maybe she'll return
that
later
would be
in the
nice.
run.
I was surprised at that.
So now the Babes in Toyland section, one of our favorites with the toy soldiers.
And so I'm just looking. Over here, yes, we've got I don't even know what you call it, the Pixar ball performers. I don't know. And these weren't always Pixar looking balls.
That's right. They didn't have the star like they do now.
Until
they were just
a couple years ago.
Plain. But here we mentioned about Forky, and you can see Forky back there, and it's hard to see, but as you mentioned before, on the other side, you have the addition of Bo Peep.
And, it's not like Forky is a person or anything. It's, just a little fork on a spinner. And also, Bo Peep we could see better when we were over at the town square.
And this is the best view in the house if you like the soldiers, though. They're coming right at you. They're actually playing. They play these instruments. They have the horns, the drums. It's just spectacular. During that halfway rainy parade, you only had half the soldiers and not the ones playing. So you just had the second group. It was still impressive. And again, we will link to that so you can see a very unique parade. But of course, I prefer the full force version with all the soldiers.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mentioned 3 elements of the parade that I always look forward to, including the reindeer also.
Oh, I love the reindeer. And we were just looking at pictures of the old reindeers with the tongue out reindeers.
What they call the Bill Justice
That's right.
Reindeer.
Very good. You remember that. That's right.
So, of course I remember it. And then, but yeah, with the tongue out, and there is Santa Claus, and Santa Claus always is the ending of the parade.
And again, this was Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time Parade, and I will link to both versions in the show notes. And this full version you're looking at here is about 20 minutes, so you get a lot of value for your wait time in this parade.
And also, we have the one it was raining that day.
Yes,
so
I
we have
recorded that holding the umbrella in the left hand and the video camera in the right.
And now we are heading into Mickey's Most Merry Celebration. We are not. We are doing Minnie's Wonderful Christmas Time Fireworks. There's so many different
names are very confusing to me.
They're really long. So anyway, this is the new show for this year, and you've got projections and fireworks and so much other stuff going on here. And the first night, it was very smoky, and you couldn't really see anything.
Well, it was actually raining. It was raining pretty hard during that first night.
But it ended up where you couldn't really see anything. You can't really see the fireworks or the projections. But then we saw it the second night, and it is actually a fantastic show. The projections are really fun.
And there's Tinkerbell. You could see a little bit of Tinkerbell down in the right-hand side there, flying down.
I didn't even see Tinkerbell either time that I saw it, but I just really enjoy this show, the music and the fireworks, and there's a point in it where you think it's over, and it's not. It keeps going.
Yeah, it has that fake ending, which is great because people actually start to walk away, and I'm thinking, nope, not quite yet. But and the projections are fantastic. I mean, again, I like that even the turrets have full projection on it, not just the castle like in the old Christmas Wishes. So to me, it's definitely an upgrade as far as the whole presentation.
When Disney showed just a tiny bit of a preview online, I was not expecting it necessarily to be an upgrade, but it is. And everybody that I've talked to loves this show. They play music like Joy to the World, Deck the Halls, We Wish You a Very Merry Christmas. And it's just, there's plenty of fireworks. And you still get a lot of those elements. Like right now, you have those spinning, pinwheels. And it just, you get the 180 degree fireworks. And I just think it's an incredible show.
Well, I like the use of the Wonderful Christmas Time song, the Paul McCartney song. And I should also mention, this is a very popular show to see. All 3 nights, there were really big crowds on Main Street, and they've done things a little different on Main Street where they put tape down on half of the street, so it's really difficult to find a good spot. It's much more difficult than in previous times. So I actually went a little closer for this location. You could see Walt there. So this is right at the very end of Main Street. A little different for me. And one of my favorite parts, probably the best part of the whole fireworks show for me, is the finale, when the castle just illuminates with ice.
Now, Disney has said you can see this show well from all over the park. I think in front of the castle is going to be your best bet as far as, really how good it is. You don't need to, but I think you should.
So here is one of our favorite shows. It's not Christmas to us until a totally Tomorrowland Christmas comes into our lives every year.
And I always call this my guilty pleasure, though I'm totally not guilty about it.
Nope.
There is Buzz Lightyear, and you have Halley Comet who'll come out. So this show, there was a show like 11 years ago called Stitch's Supersonic Celebration.
Short-lived.
It was terrible. It was a terrible show. It lasted 6 weeks. However, this emanated from it. This came from that.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. It's your favorite.
And from that first year that they had a Totally Tomorrowland Christmas, I have loved the show more than almost anything else at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And especially these guys who are dancing to Jingle Bells, and then when they do their little dance in a second here with the bells on their feet, it is just a fun show, and a lot of guests miss it. You know, when we go, sometimes there aren't that many guests in front of it, especially later in the evening. This is just fun, and you have Stitch will come out, and you have Mike Wazowski.
Santa Stitch.
Mike Wazowski lost an arm that first show
I
ever.
remember. I was there for that. That's right.
And so that was like 11 years ago that happened. So anyway, and Stitch learns a true meaning of Christmas.
And it snows. More snow.
And it snows, soap bubbles, and it's just a very high energy show. And the performer here is, I think she's about the best that we've seen since maybe the opening year performer. She really has a ton of energy and is very, very good at it.
Well, if you're going to be Haley Comet, you better have a ton of energy.
Yes,
that's for sure.
But I think she has more than a lot of the others have had and they're all good. She just is, I think, extra bubbly.
And I should mention that the Edge Effect, an awesome a cappella group, performs before A Totally Tomorrowland Christmas 4 times, but not the early 7:45 show, but before every other show for the rest of the night, you'll get a little bonus with some Christmas tunes.
And I really enjoy that as well. And again, if you're on the People Mover, which I've already mentioned, you might even get to see a little bit of either of those if they're playing at that time.
And now it's time for Mickey's Most Merriest Celebration Show, the Castle Show.
It's hard to believe this is the 4th year. It's sort of like Hocus Pocus is now in year 5.
Yeah.
It just finished,
yeah.
Or is it year 6? Something like that. And this is the 4th year for Mickey's Most Merriest Celebration. And I'm trying to remember what that other show was called, the one that emanated from Jolly Holidays.
Oh, yes, Celebrate the Season. Let's have a joyous celebration.
And that was really fun. And I remember when this started, and I saw...
The cell phone song, which we're seeing right now.
First, when I walked by it, they had the cell phone song, and then Clarabelle Cow singing, and I'm like, I don't think this is going to be a very good show, but it's actually a very fun show, but I still don't like that cell phone song as much.
Well, speaking of Clarabelle Cow,
this is, and you know,
Mariah Carey.
When I first heard her singing, I'm just like, I don't know about that, but it has really grown on me that she sings it, and
needs more cowbell.
She doesn't say scrumptious or anything like that, so that's even better.
Well, but she brings an added bonus with Left Reindeer, and if you look, there he goes. Left Reindeer is in full force this year, spectacular, even more so than on opening night. So I'm so glad we did this again.
How did this whole Left Reindeer thing even start?
I do not know. I think it was just something that happened by the reindeer himself, Mr. Reindeer, and before you know it, it took on a life of its own. But it's not Christmas without Left Reindeer.
And every year they do that. And I didn't even realize it. Like, sometimes you just think the performer's going rogue, but that's just what they do.
Ring, ring, ring those Christmas bells. There you go.
This is just about my favorite segment of the show. And I enjoy, the projections and the music, and you have so many characters in this show. I don't remember another show that has really so many varied characters in it.
And of course, one of our favorite songs from the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, and the first night, the show didn't play at all, except for that, and just We Wish You a Very Merry Christmas,
right.
And then the fireworks. So on a rainy night, you might get a little bit of maybe like a couple minute bonus.
Just the finale.
That's all they played on that first night due to rain.
But it is a really great show, and in this case, I waited quite a long time, over an hour, because I think it was closer to 2 hours, because this was the first show of the night. But it was totally worth it. I got to see a couple Frozen holiday castle lightings too, so nothing like being there front row center for this awesome show on Christmas.
And right now, I can't stand that long, so I ran around the park with a friend. for apparently a couple of hours.
So one thing that was a little different this year was the meet and greet over here with Donald and Scrooge. It is now in the Dumbo play area, which is actually much better because you also get Minnie and Daisy.
The only bad thing was the Dumbo play area wasn't open, within the Dumbo queue for families.
Right. Well, kids. Yeah, that's right. Because I heard some families wanting to take the kids into play, and they were told it's not opened.
Well, I guess during Mickey's or not so scary that this was open for part of the time. It had started,
but we didn't know because we went to early parties.
But this was terrific, and you get your own space with them. It's not like there's no other guests in your area.
Much better. It was fantastic.
Really nice, and with the rain, and it was just. I just think this is a nice backdrop. It used to be out by those
another play
the KC
area.
Junior.
That's right.
KC Junior
the
area.
water play area.
Yes. And I think this is just a way better area, and the queue is so much easier to try to figure out what line you're standing in.
Indoors and air conditioned, and again, it was raining at the time, so this was we would not have been able to do this in the rain. That's for sure.
And you get 4 characters for your one time in line. So if you're waiting 20 minutes, you get Scrooge and Donald, and then you get Daisy and Minnie.
Now, let's not forget about Club Tinsel. This is a place that we went during the first party when it was really, really raining hard. Great place to get out of the elements and enjoy some dance fun with the reindeers and the polar bears too.
And this isn't the first year. They've been doing this in a number of years. This is really fun, and if you wait just a little while, it's not as busy later in the evening.
Yeah.
And you can get hot chocolate, apple cider, and those really good peppermint cookies over here at Cosmic Rays.
And we're going to show that as soon as we're done looking at the polar bears here.
I remember I sat back one evening.
The first night, you were so relaxed just hanging out in here at a table.
Was it the first evening I did that?
That was the really rainy night.
Yeah, I posted a video. I'm like, what a life. Like, I'm sitting there watching polar bears. I've got my cookie, my hot chocolate, and I'm just hanging out. And the polar bear was dancing to Footloose. So, and it was just nice to be inside.
These polar bears and the reindeers have got quite the dance moves on them, I think.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
And again, after second parade especially, it's much less crowded, and so are the snack areas.
Yeah, as you can see, there's really nobody around. I'm getting a nice little cookie over here, and that's in Fantasyland. This is in the Pinocchio area, and you had some hot chocolate, and you have a little soda there.
I think that was a Fanta, and eggnog. Matthews didn't even know what eggnog is. In Belgium, I guess it's not a thing.
They don't have eggnog
apparently,
in Europe?
He asked me at the Grand Flirting. He's like, "What was that white stuff?" in the cup, and he didn't really like it because it's not really a thing there.
Interesting.
So I like this area a lot, except you can't sit. It would have been nice if the seating was available.
Oh, right, that's
especially
true.
Especially on a rainy day, but anytime it's just nice to be able to kick back, and there's lighting around the park. I think the best cookies are in Cosmic Rays, and there might be one other place that has that same cookie.
Well, I was looking forward to this all night. My hot pretzels with some Fanta, the dinner of champions, the dessert of champions, and mustard if you want as well.
When I'm in Paris, it's like Fanta, because everybody kind of says it like that.
Little overview of some of the projections.
And I just think this looks nice, especially late at night. I recommend if you're wanting treats, if you can wait a little bit, and Cosmic Rays wasn't bad at like 7.
Right.
But if you can wait a little bit longer, like right now, there's no wait. Once you get to like 11 p.m., there's going to be almost no wait for anything. Those pretzels, there was such a long line early in the evening. It was really like a big queue for the pretzel.
And I had a 0 wait. I mean, literally just walk up but it was close to 11:30 too.
And so that's the best time to be, getting treats if you can. Wait just a little bit. Plus, Go-Go Squeeze is is the healthy option, and you can say I would like a cookie and a Go-Go Squeeze.
And we're looking at about 1 o'clock. After 1 o'clock, and there's still people there. I mean, a lot of guests. Nobody leaves too quickly at the end of these parties.
Well, because everybody is left. Almost everybody is left after fireworks and then the parade. Because photo passes out, more and more guests stay longer. So photo passes out till like after 1 o'clock now. So it's not like it used to be where you could enjoy the end of the evening with almost nobody on Main Street. It's not crazy, but the last show, the Mickey's Most Merry Celebration, ends at like 12:15. And so that's when a lot of people, the people who have been there and the guests who have been throughout the park, are still kind of making their way out. So I think Matthias was at the park till like 1:30 on the night he was there.
And we have done that. Absolutely.
We have done that. But the first night, I don't think guests were there quite that long.
And you mentioned Matthias. He's our friend from Belgium, from Pixie Dust.
Yes, and we know quite a few Matthiases and Axels.
Yes, all kinds of those names.
So anyway, that is our overview of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
And thanks to our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel.
Yes, we couldn't do this really without them. So we really appreciate that. And if you're looking to book travel, it really helps us if you book through them and it doesn't cost anything and they can try to get the best deal for you.
Absolutely. And that's worldwide, any kind of Disney and probably non-Disney trips too.
Almost anything.
And we want to say a special thanks to all the nice people that stopped us during the first 3 parties. We had
a family from Australia was the first one, and I think their daughter's named Jessica, who we talked to. And they were so nice, and we really appreciate that. And I hope they had a good time, even though it was a major rain party, and I know they couldn't have come back again for the next party because they would have already left.
But at least they got to see Halloween and Christmas.
Yes, they got to do both parties, so hopefully that was a good time.
So there's so much coming up. We have Disney's Animal Kingdom. We were able to take a little tour there, see a lot of the offerings over there, including the menagerie of animals. Merry Menagerie.
Merry Menagerie, which is oh my gosh, I love that. And we've seen that a couple times now. We've already done Animal Kingdom more than we usually do in the season because we love it. And we still have to go over to Hollywood Studios a little more. And we've gone to resorts, and there's all kinds of gingerbread going up. Like Wilderness Lodge has a gingerbread cabin this year.
Oh, we should show all the gingerbread next week.
I don't know if we're going to have time for all of it. We still have a preview of Festival of the Holidays that we'll be showing also. And I expect to get this show done next weekend, maybe, Saturday or Sunday. And there's a lot going on, so we'll see what happens.
So anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.